Start recording. Perfect. So welcome everyone. This is Mikko Sherban, Head of Gear Grace Professional Services, and this is today a webinar on regular expressions. This is a the third part of the series. There were two other regular expressions webinars so far that I did earlier this year, and I hoped to actually connect those with this third part. So as a first step, I would like to ask you to give me some feedback how well you know regular expressions. So just launch a poll, and I think the question should appear on your screen. Yes, I got the answers. Perfect. Okay, thank you very much. That looks quite good to me. Just to recap what I see is most of you know what regular expressions are, have seen some of the webinars, previous webinars on this, and either use it on a regular basis or some of you don't use it too much. There are also a couple of people who said they don't know Regex at all. For them, it might be a bit overkill, but we will see. I try to be kind of understandable, but I will kind of rush through the basic stuff that we have covered for the first two webinars. So let me get into it. In memoQ, we can use regexes in a lot of places. Actually, the areas where we can use them is actually growing year by year. Here's a list of the features that are regex-based or can be regex-based. Filtering means that when you are on the editor window where you do the translation, there's that little window up on the top. Let me just try to open it up for you. Okay, so here we have the filtering. This is the filtering window that I mean. So if I filter for, let's say, my text, that will filter for the segments that contain this text. And here we can actually use regex-based expressions with this button. I will show it in a minute. Then searching, that means the find and replace feature of memoQ can also use regex features. Then there is the regex tagger that can turn certain text patterns into tags. We have auto translation rules that can define how to translate certain patterns into the target language. And actually, for these kind of things, we have already covered a lot in the previous webinars. So what I would like to focus at this time is, first of all, segmentation rules and some of the more advanced filtering and searching capabilities of the regexes within the editor window. And I will also use the regex text filter on simplify at the end of the webinar. And if we have some time, we may cover QA, but maybe QA, the regex-based QA, that is quite a new feature in memoQ, may deserve a separate webinar anyway. So that's what's going to happen. But first, before I start these things, let me just show what kind of tokens, regex tokens, we have already learned during the previous webinars. Let me just use it this way. Use PowerPoint this way. So basically, we have some literal characters that we learned how to use them. We have the very basic period that means anything. It's not a period. This means anything. So if we use this token, it will fit to any of these characters wherever they are, even spaces and numbers and everything, it will fit to them, right? Then we have other literal characters like this capital C. It will fit only to this place and to this place, but nowhere else. Very similar, the dash. Well, this is a bit different because this is a period. This is the period that will actually fit nowhere here because we don't have any periods in the text, but this would fit to a literal period, whereas this fits to all any characters. And then, so this is how we note any of the literal characters, and then we can say none of some characters. So for example, this with the caret means that any character that is not a comma. So this would fit to any of the letters, it would fit to any of the numbers, it would fit the spaces, but will not fit to here. It can fit to the semicolon, but not to the comma. We have choices, and there are two of them. One is a single character that can be a choice of some other characters, and we have learned this one that in a square bracket, if we say A to Z, that will mean a character between A to Z, which is basically any English capital letter. So it will fit to the capital C, the capital O, or the capital A, or capital M here, but it will not fit to the numbers, it will not fit to the lowercase letters or any of the punctuation or space. Then we have, sometimes we need to give choices as a series of strings. So for example, if we want to match to the AM, PM selector for a time thing, then, oops, I wanted to move this one. So this will fit to AM or PM, sorry, this way, AM or PM, but will not fit, for example, to CA or any of the numbers or anywhere else. So this means either AM or PM, nothing else. We have a couple of tokens that mean a set of characters. So for example, \s means any of the white spaces. That could be a space like this or this, but it could also be a tabulator, or it could be a non-breaking space or some other characters. Sometimes the enters, the line feed, or the carriage return as well. Then we have the \d for digits, so that would fit to any of the numbers, 9, 5, these, but not to the spaces or not to the letters. And then we have the W, which means word characters, so it would fit to the letters and the numbers, but it will not fit to the punctuation, for example. Okay, so these are how we can nominate the literal characters. There are of course some other sets and that we can use. I just listed these now. And then we have some quantifiers as well that we need to know how to use them. So for example, I put here a couple of examples with digits. So \d always means a digit. And then we have some quantifiers like in curly brackets 3 means that exactly 3 digits, so it will fit to these 3 digits, or actually it would fit to these 3 digits, whichever, but it will not fit anywhere here because there are no 3 digits next to each other. Then this one means digits again, but any number between 2 and 5, so it could be 2, 3, 4, or 5. It cannot be 1 and it cannot be 6. So it will fit to this here, but will not fit to this. But here, yes. Okay. We have also the question mark, which means that character that precedes the question mark either exists or not. So this could actually fit anywhere. It doesn't have any meaning on its own, but if it comes in an expression, that means that the next character could be a digit or not. It could be something else, but there may be a digit. but it actually means 1. If we want to say if we want to say that we have a couple of digits or not, then we can use the asterisk. The asterisk means that it could be 0 digits or any number of digits. It doesn't matter. So that's what the asterisk means, and the plus sign means that at least 1. So it will fit, for example, to this place because we have at least 1 digit, and it will fit to this one as well, all the 5 digits all together, because it is at least 1 digit in a row. So let's remember these, and then let's go into our topics for today. Let me go to memoQ and maybe actually start showing this sample file that is imported here. Just while I open it, I want to say that you can ask me anytime, and time to time I will stop and answer your questions. So just where you confirmed that you can hear me, just please put your question at any time. Right, so this is some sample text that I imported into memoQ, and I just want to show some of the features in here. So let me show how it looks in memoQ. As you can see, the first sentence quite perfectly segmented. Although there is an abbreviation professor, it doesn't stop, so it will, well, it's because this abbreviation is already in an abbreviation and exception list, so that's why it doesn't break the segment. But we will see that, for example, PhD, hability, or habilitas, whatever, engineer, or other name prefixes might actually not be part of this abbreviation list, and we need to expand the abbreviation list to make sure that these abbreviations will not break the segment. There's also another segment break here. Years is well, followed by a colon, and after the colon there are numbers, and generally this is defined as segmentation break. And but for this here we actually don't want to do this, so we might need to actually do something against this. In the second part of the file we have a couple of titles, all with the paragraph numbering. It happens quite frequently as far as I see, and that's why I wanted to mention this. So in this case, in some cases it may be better to cut off this numbering part out of the title itself. So if we want to do that, I will show how to. So that's what we are going to do. Right, before I continue, I would like to show a couple of ways how to figure out where we could have a wrong segmentation. So where could we have a wrong segmentation? One way we can get a wrong segmentation is to have a short term at the end of the segment. So I would say that we have a couple of letters and then a full stop, a period, and then the end of the segment. So let me show how this could work. First of all, I switched the filter into Regex mode with this button here, and then start typing things into here. How can I say that I want to find the segments that end with a couple of letters and then a period? Okay, so we know how quantifiers work, we know how to denote letters, and we know how to add spaces and periods, that kind of things. So what I want to say, we are searching for segments where after a kind of white space, so actually we need some kind of white space. And after the white space, we have a couple of word characters. Let them be like 1, 2, 3, and then a period at the end. And we also have to say that this is now the end of the segment. And that is denoted by the dollar character. The dollar character means that that's the end of the string. Okay, so what does it mean? It means I'm looking for something that a string within our segments. I'm looking for something where we have a space, some word characters, 1 to 3, 1, 2, or 3, and then a period, and that would be the end of the segment. It shouldn't be in the middle. So let me see how that works. Well, it filters out our PhD. It doesn't filter out the other two, this one and this one. Why? Because I said that it needs to start with a space. Sorry, I managed to delete this. What was it? Okay, this was it. So I may want to say that let it not actually start with a space, but it can actually start with the start of the segment. So this character could be not only a space, but it could be the start of the segment. The start of the segment is denoted by the caret. So this is one single character, so we use the character choice, and this could be either space or it could be a start of the segment, so this one, the caret. Let me see if this works. Well, it works, though I'm not sure why Johnson and some of the others are remained in here. Let me see what I did wrong. Maybe it doesn't understand this way, so I need to use the other choice that is separated by the pipe. So in this case, we have a choice of strings, either space or the beginning. Yeah, that one will work. Okay, so I'm not sure why the previous one didn't work, but this one works. So this is how we can search for the short ending segments. And that would give us a way to find abbreviations. Of course, I don't want to say no, but we can actually, somewhere we have this find abbreviations button, which probably does the same as a logic in behind. So you can use that. But if you just want to make sure that you found everything, then this might be a way. Right, the other thing that you can miss or well, sometimes that causes a segmentation problem and we need to catch is the colon. The colon is for most languages included in the end of segment marks. So what we are looking for, all the segments that end with a colon. Well, that's not very difficult. So we have a colon, we don't care what is in front of it, but what we care is that this should be the end of the segment. So after the colon, I put a $, and that should actually filter down to that single segment where we have the colon at the end. So these are ways that we can use the filtering with Regex. And actually, what I try to show is some application for how you can apply this filtering for finding certain things. Well, in this case, for trying to get something out of the segmentation. Okay, so how shall we do the segmentation thing? So once we found, one thing that you can do is add these things to the exception list of the segmentation rule. One way you can do this is explicitly adding this abbreviation to the list. Let me add this eng abbreviation to the list. So just press this button, add abbreviation eng, full stop, and then you can decide to which list you want to give this. Well, this is just a simply abbreviation. It could be a proper name, but for proper names, what we usually mean is like the brand names that start with a lowercase letter, like memoQ or iPhone or that kind of things. So that's proper name. Abbreviation before number would have abbreviations that are followed by a number that is differentiated for any abbreviation, the other abbreviations that could be part of the text or like these. Okay, so let me add this and see what happens. So the segments get resegmented. What I want to show is I go to the settings and open up the segmentation rules. So click the scissor button here, open up with editing this abbreviation list or the segmentation rule. And here we have a couple of lists. This is the segment end list. These are some left brackets and right brackets, and these are the abbreviations. And if we go down to the bottom, we can see that the eng that we just added it appears here. We can also add hub here manually, and that would actually make sure that this will not segment. And we also have to add PhD. The problem is this way it doesn't resegment the text. The only way to resegment it is just to either use I never find it, sorry, add abbreviation button like this. So I add PhD from here, or re-import the file and then it would resegment that. So now I added PhD through the add abbreviation. I added hab manually, and before that eng also added. So now this looks quite cool. This is not segmented anymore. So we need to, the only thing that remains is why these two are segmented. Before I tell you about this, let me stop for a second. Of course, you can use the join and split features to join these segments. What is wrong about join and split is when you use join and split, memoQ will not remember that you use this feature. It will not try to figure out later that, well, you have pressed a couple of times the join feature for years, column, and then after some numbers. So actually, it will never help you. But if you do this through the segmentation rule, the segmentation rule will stay there. You can set up the segmentation rule as a default resource. So if you go to options, let's say, and go to your default resources, that's the first option. Here, the segmentation rules can be set up for each language. So if I go to English here, I think this project is just English, then you can see that the default copy is my default segmentation rule. It's not the default anymore, not the default resource that comes with memoQ, but I had made a copy of this and started to fill up with the abbreviations for myself. So this is my local abbreviation rule, where you can have similar on a server. So when you use a server, on the server, if you are aware of that and you use a server, there you can also have default server resources, and there you can also assign a other server resource here. Okay, it went into some infinite cycle. Okay, right, so we want to solve this problem with 4 years, but before that I see I have a question. Is that any written PDF guide to regex that covers everything from the very concept up? At least for me, I just can't tamper on screen with both the lesson and the app so that I can't learn properly. Problem is, for instance, that I need to understand and hopefully master the basics, and then I can go on. Otherwise, at the beginning, I don't know even what to ask for or search. That's absolutely true. So what you say is that you have to build it up from the beginning. That's why this is a series of 3 webinars, and for the first 2, if you have a look at number 1 and number 2, that tries to build up the whole thing from the very, very beginning. And that's why I said in the beginning that this one also already builds on that knowledge. So I'm a bit, maybe a bit overkill for those now who use or haven't used regex for some time. But let me show you something. Of course, you can find rules and you can find courses on the internet if you search for that. There are also tools that help you using regex. I use this tool. This is Regex Buddy, but this is a payable tool, so it's not a free tool. You can find free tools on the internet if you want. They might actually support regex on a level that you will need to use memoQ. So that's this tool might be an overkill, but it's worth looking at, because let me show you the thing that we did previously. So what I will do is just copy this text as a sample text in memoQ in Regex Buddy. And what we did was, well, actually we had this kind of, yeah, this way. So what Regex Buddy can do is, if I say a space and then a word character and then 1 to 3 of those word characters. I'm sorry, I need to kind of hack this because it doesn't accept my curly brackets. Okay, and then a period. You can see that it marks up the thing that you are doing right away. It not only marks it up, but also, okay, this way. If I just delete this space, that will work exactly how we expect it to do. So it not only marks up, but also if you go to create, there you can see the help for what is happening. So it means that match a single character that is a white space character. It explains what's going on, and you can see, if you click on those, you can see which part it is talking about. Also, you can insert tokens through this menu that helps a lot to find out things. So for example, if we want character classes like these, we can you can use these things. So digits would be like a \d. You can see this is how you insert it. You don't have to learn it, but you can insert it through here, shorthand characters. Okay, so this tool might be actually helpful, and we may use it during this webinar later. So what I want to do is join the years. Sorry, another question. What were the left and right brackets and other stuff in the abbreviations window? Okay, yeah, I think I'm coming up to that. So what we want to do is make these kind of expressions joined together. So let me go, well, just make a screenshot of this so we can look back to here anytime, and just start up a blank document. So just put it here so we can look it back anytime. And let me go to the segmentation rule now. Okay. So We have a couple of lists on this basic segmentation rule window. These lists define a lot of things within memoQ. These are the segment ends. You can see that we have the end of segment punctuations there, and also the colon. That is, as I mentioned, normally for most of languages is an end of segment character. And then it might actually have a couple of exceptions that we need to handle. And then we have the left brackets and the right brackets that are also used in the segmentation rules, because these affect segmentation. So for example, what is the basic segmentation rule? The basic segmentation rule is that you have an end of segment character, a full stop for example, then a space, and then a capital letter. That's what is the end of a segment and then the start of a new sentence. So that's the basic rule. This is figured out somewhere in I will show where under this advanced view in memoQ. And then this rule needs to be tweaked in many ways to cater for the needs of the general live text. In live text, we may have actually a sentence embraced into a pair of parentheses, any kind of brackets or maybe quotes. And in that case, we also have to handle that. So that's why these are listed. And there might be other characters that play similar role in the language. In that case, you would expand this list with those. And then we have the abbreviations that we have talked about and some other settings. So that's the basic thing. But then it comes to how this is handled. What are the rules in behind? So if you click on the advanced view will show you the regex expressions that define the segmentation. So for example here, what we can see, this rule is an end of segment mark. This end between the hash marks means that an end of segment mark. So one of those characters, the full stop, question mark, exclamation mark, and the colon. And then, well, this exclamation mark means that here will be the segment break. This denotes the segment break. So if we have a full stop or a colon or any other of those signs, and then a space, that's the \s, we know that. Actually, at least one space, there could be two or more. And then this \p lu means a character set of letters that are uppercase. Letters for L and uppercase for U. So that's again something, well, we didn't take this on, but actually this has been mentioned in the second series. But anyway, this means any uppercase letter. So this is the basic rule. End of segment mark, space, capital letter. So, and then we have exceptions. You can see that if there is an abbreviation, that abbreviation is followed by a segmentation rule, segmentation point, and then we have the space and then the capital letter. Then this abbreviation should not mean a segmentation point. This is an exception. So this is how segmentation rules are set up. Let me go to the third one. I mean, these things can be a bit more difficult than you would easily grasp. So obviously what you said in your comment that you have to build it up from the very beginning and go that way. So what you can do here is let's try to understand which rule we need to figure out, where we need to tweak the exceptions. So what we have here, and let me go back to the file. Here we have a end of segment mark, the colon, then a space, and then some numbers. So let's find the segmentation rule that defines this pattern. Here we have this number 3 that is highlighted. It means that we have a end of segment mark, so this could be the colon, and then the space, and then a digit. And here, in that case, we have a segmentation point. So, well, this is the one that segments our text, and here we need to give an exception for that. But this exception could actually be easy or more difficult depending on your needs. But for us, actually, it will be enough to say years colon and then a space and then a digit. We can say that. Actually, we could say that it should start with 2 as the year number. Well, it could actually be 1, so let it be a digit. So this could be an exception, and we need to say where the segmentation would appear. It would appear here. So we can add this as an exception, and this should prevent that break. Of course, it would prevent other things, and there, where it comes to more advanced knowledge of regex, that you always are in trouble because you try to give patterns, and those patterns must be definitive. You might pick up something that you don't want to pick up. So it might be somewhere where you don't want to pick this up. Well, for years, colon digits, it's probably not a problem, but it might, in some other cases, it might pick up other things. So let's add this exception, and now go back to the file and see what happens to it. Well, it will not resegment after this. So I need to re-import this file. Let's see what happened to it. Well, our exceptions worked fine, so this is what happened. Okay, right. I think this is enough for us from segmentation rules for now, and let me show you something different. I have this other document. This is a tagged document. We have some text in there. And I want to show you how to search for tags. You can filter for tags easily. If you just want to see where there are tags in which segments contain tags, then you can say that open up the filter window and go to comment and tags, and say the source has inline tag. Just look out the segment 1 and segment 4. These don't have any tags, so I just filter it. You can see that those segments disappeared because those didn't have a tag. Okay, so that's very nice. So what if we want to actually say which tag it needs to have and which not? Well, we might want to find the segments that has a text tag. Well, actually, most of them has a text tag. Now, let me switch this off and say we want to have those segments that has a text tag. So I just write text in here. That will filter it down. So I go click the OK button, and that will filter for those segments that has text tag. Now I want to go a step forward. If we look at these text tags, we can see that the style attribute, like this in here, style attribute, doesn't exist in all of them. For example, in this one, well, for this here exists, but this one, it doesn't exist. And also in this one doesn't exist. Of course, in this one not. So let me filter for those segments that has a text tag with a style attribute. It's not very difficult. memoQ already helps because you just put there the text tag, but it adds the two pointed brackets, or well, in this case it's rather an arrow. It is a text tag and it has a style attribute. This arrow thing, the pointed bracket, or greater, less than sign, is it greater than? No, less than sign. No, it's a greater than sign. Anyway, this means that this is the tag label and then this is the attribute name. So let's filter for that, and you can see that all those segments are filtered now that has a text tag with a style attribute. Okay, so now I actually want to filter for something more specific. I want to filter for the tags that has the style attribute that is font weight italic. Sometimes it's font weight bold, like here, and here, but in the beginning here I have font weight italic. So let me continue filtering, and after the second arrow I put the value. So this would be font dash weight colon italic and a semicolon. So this is how it works. I just put the tag label, the tag attribute name, and the tag attribute value that I want to filter for, and that will filter down to those segments that have this kind of tag. Okay, so now I may want to go a step forward. These were static values, but I may need to go for something more general. I may want to do something like something with the IDs. You can see that we have an ID in each tag, in each text tag of 7 digits. So let us say that I'm wondering where these IDs will start with number 2. Well, that's difficult because I could try to use this and say we have a text style and well 2, but that would do this because it needs the full value, it needs the fixed value of the attribute. So it doesn't work. So we need to use something else, and here we can actually use the search feature of memoQ. So I open up the search feature, and actually this is already set up here, and what I want to show you is why this works. So I just copy this out, go to Regex body, and get some sample text to here. There we are. So why this works? This is what I write into the search field. Just for a second, let me go back. It doesn't work always. It needs 2 settings to work this way. One is to expand text to text. Okay, that's one thing. The other thing is that we use regular expressions. So if we use these 2 together, in that case, we can set up a regex expression that fits to these tags, and then we can filter them out. Okay, so why this works? It starts as a text with a text label, and then we have a space. Then we have this strange part. It means, well, this is not a closing pointed bracket any times. So we are looking for some characters that will not close the tag because we want to search within the tag. We could denote it other ways, but for now I use this one. So this just makes sure that there is something, or it could be nothing, but there could be something that thou should not close the tag. And then we have an attribute called ID with an equation sign and code, and then the number of the ID starts with a 2, and then we have 6 other digits. And then the quotation mark closes, and then we might have some characters that do not close the tag, and at the end we have the tag closing pointed bracket. So this is how it works. You can see that, well, if I just type in here, you can see that this is highlighted, the tag itself. I can write something in front. So it's always only the tag that is highlighted, so it fits on there perfectly. So let me go back to memoQ now and show how this works. So I can click, well, just to make sure that I'm searching in the source text, find next tag. Well, find next occurrence. So if I just click find next, then we can go and find all of them. We can actually mark them all and then filter for the marks, but this way, what's important that this way we can search for these. Okay, well, we have other tags in here. Let's say we want to search for these red tags or the segments with direct red text. Okay, but if I write similarly that I'm searching for, well, project, well, it's searching a source, use regular expression, expand text, so this should work, but it says no matches. Well, let me just show this way. No matches. It will not find it. Why? Because this is a red tag. This is something different. This is not a gray tag. A red tag always has, well, these are special memoQ tags, and these are not tags that start with the label itself. If we go to the tag itself, let me show for text. And I just pressed Ctrl F9, which is, well, Ctrl F9 is, if we go to edit, tag comments and edit inline tag, that's the one, edit inline tag, so tag comments, edit inline tag. There we can see the inline tag name and we can see the attribute names and attribute values. So here the tag label was text. And now I show you in difference the project. And here you can see that actually the tag name is different. It's not project, it's meQ:NT. So this is something different. And we have to search for this. And then it has a value, an attribute called val, and that has a value that is project. So that's a bit different how it works for these. So what we are going to search for is the text that has a label meQ:NT with a colon. So let me search for, oops, it's not here, I need to search here. Let me search for meQ:NT and find next. And we need to search in source. Okay, so now it marks up the project, the open, and then the other open. And you can see that it works quite nicely and going through the tags, the red tags. So this is the way you can find all the red tags. Okay, let me see if there are any questions. Okay. Can you expand the red text for us? Okay, red text. I think I just did that, but if not, just give me another question. But I hope I just did that. Okay, what does the anti means? There are a couple of these red tags, a couple of types of these red tags. It could be, in help you can check them. Anti means non-translatable. This is a not translatable part of the text. This file was an XML file that was imported through an XML filter, and the XML filter had, well, actually, where there is as attribute translate equals no, it was said that that is not translatable. And in that case, this is how it appears. You can see that everywhere where it's translate no, these things are containing red tag. If you use regex tagger, then it will be meq colon rxt, I think. And then there's another one which I don't know by heart. But the easiest thing to do is always to click the tag. You have to copy it over to the source. That's my experience. And then go edit inline tag, and there you can see the inline tag name. Let me show you the regex tagger. Maybe that's going to be quite easy. So I just use regex tagger and tag anything that is there. So I just tag the words. You can see that I have a couple of the words. And if I go this one and call up the edit tag, sorry. Okay, this is, you can see that the tag name in this case meq colon rxt. Okay. I don't think I need any of this tag info. It is so complex. Well, sometimes it is true. The red tags are not expanded. I mean, we can't see val etc inside them. The gray tags are expanded. Well, because there are no that kind of things. The red tags normally denote some text that are hidden for or prevented to be translated. So it's not an actual tag. It is actually some kind of text that is protected. And for these, we don't normally have these kind of normal tag attributes that are in case of XML tags. So that's the thing. So there's no real point in expanding them. Although one trick that I may show you is that also might help. If you export a file like this, export bilingual and use the 2-column RTF. In that case, on the second settings page, there is this format section where there is an option saying export the full text of inline tags. So if I just check this and export the file this way, that will expand the these tags. It won't have, well, it will have the square brackets instead of square and curly brackets actually, instead of the pointed brackets. But let me show where it is. Well, this is the project tag that we have seen. Sorry, it starts from there and goes up to here. So that's the project tag. You can see that's MQNT and var project, and then we can also find the tag, the regex tagged RX, the MQ colon RXT tags. That's the one. Okay, so that's how you can see. And when you want to search for this, you can search for the whole thing, and then in this case, you just need to assume that this looks. Instead of the square and curly brackets, you have pointed brackets, and that's it. Okay. Yeah. Is it possible to filter an HTML file to see only text using regex? An HTML file to see only text. that means that you don't have any text in there. That doesn't. Do you? Okay, let me ask back, and if you answer this question, I will try to show you an example. So the question is it possible to filter an HTML file to see only text using regex? And the question I have is does it mean that you want to see the segments that doesn't have any tags? And if yes, I will try to show you something. Right, so well, I got the question, well, the answer, let me see. Yeah, I think I can go to the third file, sample file. And the third sample file is this regex text filter file. Well, actually, let me show this first, how this looks in Notepad. So this is the file. This is standard software file format. Many times it happens that we have that kind of format. And this kind of format is, well, how the format is interpreted. There is some kind of ID of the string. Well, normally it has some kind of meaning, but it's not translatable. This is the identifier of that string within this line. Then after the string, we have space normally, maybe more spaces, we don't know, and then a equation sign, and then a space, and between some between some quotes, we have the actual text to be translated. And then optionally, sometimes we have a comment after two slashes. So this is the kind of thing I want to filter into memoQ. If I just drop this file into memoQ, that will import the whole thing. Just remove this for now, and let me just drop this file into memoQ the way it is. So if we just use the default filter will import everything. This looks like this. And well, obviously this can be translated. I don't say it cannot, and it has all the information, but this is not the way to do this. There's a nicer way, and I want to show that. So let's get rid of this file and import this file with options now. And the feature that we can use for such a file is the so-called regex text filter. A regex text filter is, well, it is a very complex filter. It can do a lot of things. So I will not show all of the features. What I want to show some of the basics that you may be able to use to import easier files like this. Okay, so there are actually 3 pages that you can set up, and a 4th page is a preview. So if you go there, we can see that the preview is has the strings. We can see the strings, and within the strings there are some horizontal lines that denote where the text will be broken into, well, stories. So these are, well, separate entities. These are not segments yet. They will be segmented, sub-segmented, and we will actually use these sections for setting up the regex that will help us to identify each part in one section. But the first step is that these lines, well, the file itself is kind of split up into sections. How this is split up is defined by this part, paragraph separator, and the setting here is every new line is a paragraph separator, so that's why for every new line we have a horizontal line, and these are separated into separate segments, sections. You could have some other options. For example, if you want to have an empty line, sometimes an empty line denotes the one section, so you can use that one. For now, well, I'll just show it. If I switch over here, we have no empty lines, so that shows that all the text actually is put into a single section. But we don't want to do that now. So we go to new line, and that will put every single line into a different section. Right. For the paragraph rules. Well, this is the most complex thing that you can find in terms of regex, probably in memoQ. But I hope you will be able to understand what I'm saying. So what I do, I copy this text to regex body as sample text, and I want to create a expression that fits to each line. Okay, so what is how to do this? First of all, I just want to make sure that it starts with something. Well, actually, let me say that dot doesn't match line breaks, because this is important now, because it regex in the filter already we have segmented these strings into different sections, and so it shouldn't, the dot should not carry on to the next line. So we have something before the equation sign. We could actually put it differently, but I will not use this that way. I just say we have something and then a equation sign. Well, that's nice. So we could already mark up the beginning of each line. Actually, I don't want, well, this will be the identifier. So this part I can use as a context information in memoQ for creating context matches. I may not want to have the space in there, so I just separate the spaces. It will not change any of the markings here, because it still fits. But the thing is that this space is now not part of this expression. You see, period plus means any character any times, at least once, and then I have a couple of spaces, and then I have the equation sign. So what is afterwards? We have a space, and then we have a quotation sign. And then we will have something that is not a quotation sign, and then we have another quotation sign. Let me put it this way now. So we have something that is not a quotation sign a couple of times, and then we have a quotation sign. You can see in live how the regex expression evolves, so nicely showing that we found everything. So this part between the quotation signs will be our translatable. And then we could have a couple of white spaces, and after the white spaces we would have two slashes, and then whatever is after, that will be our comment. Now the problem is that not all the lines have comments, so we need to make this optional. Okay, so what I do is we create this thing. Well, actually, from the slashes, I make this optional with a question mark. So I put them into parentheses and use the question mark. Question mark means that it's optional. So you can see now that each line is found, matched at the moment. And the parts that we need to use within memoQ are identified. Okay, one more thing. We actually need to identify them. So we need to make them into kind of groups. To group them, we need to put things into parentheses. So between these blue parentheses now, we have the first part, that is the ID. So that will be the first parenthesis. Into the second parenthesis, we put the translatable. That's between the two quotation marks. So that will be between these blue marks. And then we have the comment. Well, actually the comment is already in parentheses, but it has the slashes. So I actually might use another pair of parentheses in here, now the blue one. That will mean the comments. But actually it will not be the number 3, it will be number 4, because we have an additional pair of parentheses out here. So this will be number 4. So number 1 is embracing the ID, number 2 is embracing the translatable, and number 4 embraces the optional comment. Alright, so this is the expression that fits to our paragraph. So what I do, I just copy this into the Regex text filter and add as a rule. But at this moment it will say we cannot go to the preview because there are some invalid paragraph rules. Oh, what is invalid with this? Well, the invalid is that we didn't finish editing this rule. We have said how to fit certain lines, but we didn't tell memoQ which part of this is what within this this line. Okay, so we know that this is defined down here. We want to say which is the content group. Content group is number 2. Remember that was the second group. We have the $sign here. The $sign means that the group number follows. So $2 actually means that group number 2. Context would be group number 4. Sorry, group number 1. So we need to put here a $1. Why we need to put $, here and not for the content group? Content group must be a single item. So that must be something definite in there. Context group could actually be something made up of strings. So it could be actually more parts from this regex expression. So it could be group 1 hyphen group 4 or something like that. And in that case you would need to edit this way, so you are free to use the $sign and anywhere. So this is not fixed. So here you have to put in the $sign. That's the same for comment. The comment can also be put together from different parts of this expression. So for comment we will use it. It's going to be group number 4. So we have set this up. I click the add button. A line here in this grid is filled up, and now if I go to preview, well, we can see that the IDs are all with this context marking italic font. The translatable text is with the green background, and then the comment, the bold text, is at the end of the lines. And then we also have the equation sign and the quotes and the slashes that are just normal text with gray background. That's not imported. We could actually have excluded or not included text. That's defined on this third tab, but we are not dealing with this now. So just leave it this way. I like this, how it looks. So just click OK and import this file. If I open it up, you can see that, well, it looks a lot better than for the previous import when we imported the whole thing as one without any filtering. So we actually have only the filterable text, and we have a nice preview with all these colors. Well, that's about this file, and let me see the questions. Is it possible to filter it? Yeah. Wow. Is there a way to tell memoQ where to write the translation? That is, the source text is not overwritten. All right. Not in the regex text filter. So the question is, sorry, just to repeat so it is understandable. Is there a way to tell memoQ where to write the translation? That is, not the source text is overwritten, but there's the source text that we show, and then we have the target text, the place of the target text somewhere else. Unfortunately, there is no such filter that does it well out of the box. This is a so-called multilingual filter in memoQ. We have a couple of multilingual filters, but the Regex text filter doesn't support this mode. You can use the multilingual delimited text filter or multilingual Xml filter, where you can have different columns of text with different different columns of text, and one column can be the source and the other column can be the target. That would be for an Excel file or a CSV file. Then you could have the multilingual XML filter that also can do this thing. So you can say which tag contains the source text and which tag will contain the target text, and memoQ can use that as well. Some other filters like the TTX filter or the SDL XLIF filter or the XLIF filter itself will do this trick. I mean, these file formats are bilingual file formats by default, so these are bilingual filters in memoQ. Unfortunately, for a general text filter or text file like this, it would not be possible. So what we are talking about is, let's say we have this kind of thing, and then between another pair of quotes, we would expect the translation. So that's what we are talking about. So this file. And in this case, it's not possible to do this. Okay, so what can you do then? Let me show this example, okay? So that would be a tricky one, but this example could show what to do. In this case, what we need to do is first copy the source text into the target text and then lock the source text so the source text would not be translatable, and the target text that we copied there will be the translatable, and that can be overwritten in place in this case. So let me copy this file format to the Regex, to Regex body. Of course, it will not match now because we have added these codes. So I would need to add some, well, these codes at least to this part. I just add the codes and some additional spaces, and now we are expanded to this format. Okay, so how can I copy what a day into this area? Well, that's not easy, but I show you. Well, in Regex body, you can also do not only searches or fit text, but you can also do replacement. And we will use this replacement feature to do this trick. Okay, so what we need to do first is to split the text at the point where we need to place the translation. Okay, so now we have two separate groups, and between these two separate groups, we will need to copy the translatable text from in here. Well, we can use the numbers. I'm just not sure how this is going to be, but maybe we can go through numbers. But there is also a way to label these parentheses, to give them a name, and that makes it easier. So as this is not very difficult, I'll show you how to label a parenthesis. So let me see that I want to label this green parenthesis, so the first group that contains the beginning of the string. So I just label this by adding a question mark just right after the opening parenthesis, and then a pair of pointed brackets, and then the label. Well, this is, let it be the begin string. So this gives a name to this thing. The same way we can add a label here for the end part. And what I also want to label is the translatable text. So this dark green parenthesis contains the translatable text. So I add a label to that xlate. So now I have labeled things. So I can refer to these things with these labels in here. Okay, here I'm sorry, I again have this problem with the closing curly brackets. In the replacement text, I can refer to these labels. So I can say begin. And I will type it on. Just want to show how this works in the bottom here. You can see that begin, well, actually writes only the first part of these strings. There is no enter included yet, so we will have the enter at the end. So after the begin, we need to repeat the translate text. So the begin will keep up to actually the opening bracket of the translatable area. So there we need to repeat the translate text. You can see now that already the translate text is filled in. And then we need to add the end of the string. End. And now we have, well, with the end, actually, we also have the end of line characters. So this, you can see that down here, it's all done. We have done the replacement. We have done this copying. So now if I copy this text and replace it within here and save it, now I can import this text into memoQ with, well, actually we need a different regex text filter, but that will not be very difficult. So, and that way we can do this thing. So just very quickly, I save this file. Actually, let me rename sorry, I just want to add a 2 at the end of the file and import with options, and now I import the second file. And yeah, for this, well, we all again use the regex text filter. We'll use the same new line character here, and for the paragraph rule, well, we need something different. I just copy up it here to the target text, and actually what we need here is here we have between the end and the begin we have something. And well, it's not something. Let's let it be this way as we always did it. It's something that is not a, yeah, something that is not a quote. Okay, so we have this now, and we have to put this into parentheses as well, because this is a group. And this will fit to all the lines. So what I did, I just added this part to this regular expression that we already had. And add this expression here. And well, now I have to find out which parenthesis will be which. So let me count. This is number 1, number 2, number 3 is a translatable, but we don't translate this now because this is the source text. Number 3, number 4 is the actual translatable, so I just put that it's number 4 now, the translatable. And number 5, number 6, number 7 is the context. No, that's a comment, sorry. So $7 is the comment, and context is actually number 2. This is the context. So $2. Well, that's just simply counting the items, and I nearly did it right, it seems. It seems that I counted something differently. It's, yeah, it looks like the numbers are not good. Maybe I made a mistake, and that would mean that the content group is actually, it should be one down. Not sure why. It always drives me crazy because parentheses are not always the same meaning. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so we don't have a preview for this. That's very nice. Let me try it in number 4. I just want to try this. That also doesn't work. Okay, so let's say that this is number 1 then. No, number 2, number 3, number 4. It should be 4, but actually this was 4. Doesn't work that easily, does it? When we have these ugly expressions, let me try to get this down a bit easier. Okay. So this one we don't need. Now we don't need this. Actually, we don't even need these. We need this one. We don't need this one. This one. So I just delete all the unnecessary codes, and now we have ID 1, translatable 2, and 4 is the comment. So ID context is number 1, content is number 2, and number 4 is the comment change. This way it should work. There we are. So you can see that in this case, the first part is prevented from translation, that's protected. And then the second part is always translatable. Well, we still have some trouble because this seems to be interpreted as a comment, which I am not sure why. But definitely if we play around with this filter, we could come to a point when this doesn't show as a comment. But anyway, this is what we wanted to get to. Right. Okay, I'm just finishing up. I have one more question. I've seen you sometimes use, well, or not, the square brackets. Are they mandatory? The square brackets. Well, the square bracket sometimes, well, it actually means that any of the characters inside of it. It is not mandatory if you have a single character there. So if you have like, let me show this just quickly. So if I say slash, that will match to there. So this will match these characters. I can also say in square brackets slash, and that also match the same thing. So the square bracket actually means that it could be a slash or, well, maybe an equation sign. And then these ones also match, okay? So if it's only a single type of character, it's a single token, in that case, you don't need the square bracket. It's all the same. Syntactically, it is the same if you use it or not in this case. Right. Any other questions? I don't see any other questions. So I think we are done for today. Sorry for those who felt this is crazy stuff. I know this is crazy stuff, I'm quite clear with that, and I know that, well, you can see I have pretty good experience on this and still may get into trouble for how to handle them. And to tell the truth, memoQs, well, putting the regex expressions in here, it doesn't give us too much help. It can give us, if well, it gives an error if the expression itself is not valid, but otherwise it will not tell you where the problem is. But at the same point, I always say that regex is just a language. We all speak languages, we are translators. So we all speak languages and somehow we learn those languages. Regex is not anything else, just a language. It is a language that we use to tell a computer how to find certain pattern of text. So I think if someone learned another language, probably can learn more or less, at least this basic level, the regex expressions. Maybe this third webinar was some, well, advanced stuff that not all of you need, although I do hope that I gave some ideas how to use regex in filtering and in searching for certain stuff in the translation grid. And the other thing, what I want to say is such a tool that can actually tell you if there's something wrong, like this. It instantly gives some red background if I do something wrong. This is like, I would say, like a spell checker for my regex language. So, well, this is not included in memoQ, so when you put regex into memoQ, it will not work like that. It will not give you the red, highlighting the red thing where the problem is. It will just give you a message that there's something wrong. But if you use a tool like this, and I said such tools exist online and free of charge as well, those tools may be able to do some spell checking like this, or that means that like syntax checking, and show where the problem is, or even show you where your expression doesn't work. It has like, well, for here, just show that this has a debug button, and using this debug button, you can actually go into the details and see where your expression fails, for example. So such a tool is I think a must to master regex. You will not be able to learn it without that. You can't really put regex into like a text editor like this. Just type up characters and then it will work. It will not work. It doesn't work even for those who have well, broad experience. So you will need some kind of, well, editor, that we call it a spell checker, that takes care of your syntax and shows you what you missed. Right, saying that, let me just check if I have any other questions. Thanks so much for your time. Really helpful tricks. The syntax aspect of regular expression is fascinating. It's just a question of getting it to work. Yes, it is sure. It was great. Thank you very much for your feedback. And thank you very much for attendance. And if you have any more questions, please do not hesitate to drop us a line, well, pointing to this webinar, and that will make it to me. This webinar is recorded, so if you have any colleagues who would be interested, please tell them that this will exist on our website shortly. So thank you very much again for your attendance and your attention. Goodbye.